what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. In tonight's episode, I have part 2 of my interview with Tony Wash and Meredith Tummillo, the co-creators of the first ever horror trivia game show, Better Luck Than Chuck. You can check out part 1 right now at the link up here at the top of the screen. And don't forget to hit that subscribe and follow button so you can check out all the horror content on my channel. Enjoy.
You start answering them yourself at home. I have no doubt that horror fans like you and me and the thousands of them out there are going to just jump on watching this thing and eagerly ask for more seasons. So,
yeah, I've said it before, but there was numerous times on set where I had to cover my mouth because just the ad libs that the Widow and Charlie were doing were just ridiculous. And like, again, like just seeing the movie and having the quips in there and then having it on set, like such a great time. And speaking of the fans that, we're hoping they're going to latch onto it, which they will. They absolutely will. We live in a time now to where, with the way that the online community is, it's so easy to gatekeep and claim what being a real horror fan is, or that you're the smartest person in the room or anything as well too. And I got to meet so many amazing people, not just behind the camera, but in front of it as well too. We're also competing on the show. And what was it that was important to the two of you when it came down to finding the right contestants? Because it is a bit of a minefield, just like any fan base can be these days. But horror seems to be one of those ones where folks can be exceptionally precise, might be the word that I go for when it comes to like their knowledge. So how did the two of you approach finding the right contestants for the show?
I mean, I feel like personalities were a big part. We asked all of you to submit a video along with your application. And so the video was not something that was like the outlier, that was just like it wasn't like an extra. That was the thing that we looked at and said, okay, well, this person clearly loves horror because, you showed us. Your video started with you standing outside of your room there in the basement, showing us the floor mat. And then you go into this room and it's got all the ambient lighting. You've got a pinball machine. You've got all this horror stuff behind you. So someone such as myself, who's a lifelong fan, is going to see that and say, this guy definitely is a lifelong horror fan. And that's what we really wanted. We wanted people, and we wanted people from all over the US.
Yeah.
We had contestants from coast to coast and everywhere in between. And we did our best to find people that displayed enthusiasm and excitement for this, people that said that they thought it was a good idea and wanted to be a part of it because it was the inaugural season. It's that eager, enthusiasm.
I was just going to say, and good energy,
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Obviously your horror collection had a little bit to do with it, but there were some people that were like, I just moved, or I don't have a lot of stuff. It wasn't about how much stuff they had to prove that they're a horror fan. I think it was them talking about what they had and their enthusiasm while they were showing, even if it was one thing that they got at a horror convention. So it was just their comfort in front of the camera and their enthusiasm for the genre. And I think we did try to pick, different walks of life, different ages, we tried to mix it up as much as we can. We got so many great submissions. If there's anyone out there listening that submitted a video, we probably loved you. There's not a specific reason you did not get picked. We are hoping, more seasons to come.
Yep,
And
we saved the videos.
We saved all the videos. So please, if you're listening and you were bummed you didn't get picked, it does not mean that you weren't right for the show. We just tried to kind of mix it up for the first season and more seasons to come, hopefully. Yep. So keep an eye on that email inbox, hopefully soon.
In regards a bit to the format of the show and everything, there's been so many game shows over decades at this point. Did you find yourself having to shut out anything that you were really like heavily favoring coming into the creation of this? Because obviously there's a format to the way the game works and the various rounds and what the contestants are doing. Was it something to where you had to start like maybe ignoring a lot of stuff that you probably were watching or studying on or anything like that to really narrow down how you wanted the format of the game to work?
Well, I think we talked a lot about our game shows we liked and things that we, wanted. I think we were very influenced by
Remote
remote
control.
control, which I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if it is
Yeah.
like an 80s, 90s MTV. What we loved about that is that it was simply, I mean, I think it was just pop trivia. It wasn't just music trivia. I think it was just pop culture trivia, but it was simple. And ironically, it was in a basement too. If you remember the guy's set,
Yep.
it was them in a basement, which we didn't even like realize the correlation of that until we were like halfway through designing ours. But it's just so funny because it's simple. Again, like Cash Cab, you're just questions I can answer, that I'm screaming at the TV. So we liked that format, and we talked a little bit about some physical, we all have a special place for Double Dare and all of those fun things. And so we started trying to like incorporate some fun stuff. I mean, there was grandiose ideas of blood dumping on people and stuff, but we try to, especially for the first season, keep it simple, asking questions, and then obviously whoever makes it to the final round has a little bit more fun. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything that we were or weren't influenced by that we kind of, I don't know. I think just there's something simple about trivia, and we wanted to do some interactive type screen, more like than just the question on the TV, which we tried to do.
To her credit, I really wanted to do some sort of Double Dare interactive challenge, and it was a good thing that she wrangled that back, because I think now in hindsight, looking at the show the way that it played out, I don't think it needs people to get messy and bloody and stuff. And so I'm glad that we didn't go that route. There are things that we definitely would like to do as we get into future seasons, in terms of more interactive challenges, kind of like Price is Right, but horror themed. That would be a lot of fun, but a lot of that comes with licensing. We were very fortunate to get some, as you saw in your episode, we got some awesome video questions read by famous directors that horror fans are sure to recognize. And we got the use of some really cool movie clips and stuff from popular movies. But ultimately, you can't go to a big studio and say, hey, we want to show clips from your movie, and have them be like, oh yeah, sure, here you go. They're going to expect fees for that we just couldn't afford with our initial budget on this season. So the hope is that in future seasons, we're going to have not just the budget flexibility to bring some stuff like that in, but also the desire from bigger studios and IP owners to be a part of this because they think it's cool and want to be involved. And we're very fortunate that we did get people involved and groups involved. Like, we have Fright Rags and Trick or Treat Studios and Severin Films and Cabby Colors and all these really awesome sponsors that were a part of it. Universal sponsored our grand prize trip to Universal Halloween Horror Nights, either in Orlando or Hollywood. And so the fact that we were able to attract sponsors in that respect, and then get people such as yourself, again, who flew from Colorado to Chicago without knowing a single person, without having any validity to our production whatsoever. You just said, you know what, these people seem cool, this project seems cool, I'm gonna fly out there on my own dime and hope to God that they don't put me in a saw trap and and make me compete to prevent myself from getting my arm cut off or something. I don't know. So yeah, it just all worked out, and everything we said, everything fell into place. Even the season finale final round game that we played, we didn't even have that until that was literally like a regular category up until a little too for you. That was a regular category up until a week before we shot the show. And we were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We can't do Charlie's Workshop with two finalists. How do we have them compete against each other to win the prize? And so we came up with that literally a week before, and it's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy sometimes productions, the things that happen behind the scenes. But yeah, I think for that we realized we had the structure of the format for the first episodes, the first 5 episodes, with the 2 rounds of trivia and the little final round. But we realized for the finale, it was the big thing. It was, the final 2 people competing for a trip to Halloween Horror Nights. So we needed to get them out from behind the podiums. We're like,
Yeah.
we need to get them into the center of the floor. How are we doing that? And we tossed around a couple different fun ideas, and so that one ended up kind of getting picked for the grand finale. So,
And I think that's an example of what I see moving forward if we have the ability to kind of air out some more ideas that are, like I said, Price is Right oriented, where we get the contestants out from behind the podiums and give them an opportunity to do something a little more physical, not necessarily gory or gross, not Double Dare-esque, but just, here's, again, and I don't really want to reveal ideas because we've got some aces up our sleeve, but some of the things that we've tossed around would be so much fun. We just have to be able to get access to licensing and stuff like that. So fingers crossed that, the people who control that type of stuff watch this show and see the potential in future seasons as much as we believe fans are going to. So
I think the combination of what you guys did in terms of the format of the show, in terms of the set, the amazing set for the game itself there, our host, the contestants you got involved, everything about it was just this amazing magical experience that it's really going to be shocking to me that more folks don't jump into it once they, like you said, get a chance to even catch a few seconds of it, because I really do truly believe that people see it, they're going to want to be on this show. So we are willing those future seasons and these grand ideas that y'all are trying to do for like the future ones, we're willing that into fruition for sure.
And we appreciate that everybody who was on the show, none of the contestants were like, oh, it was a terrible experience. Everybody was excited about it. Everybody was glad to have been involved, and you are all saying, hey, we want to help. We want to get the word out. We want to write trivia for the future seasons. I think it's a testament to the fact that our team put together something really fun and special. And if I know anything about the horror community based on 20 years of making movies and going to conventions and talking to fans at the grassroots level, it is that horror fans are dedicated to what they love. And this is, if I saw this on TV, I would be eager to watch every episode of it. And I am a diehard horror fan. And so if I feel that way, if you feel that way, if she, not even a huge horror fan, but she's enough of a horror fan to see it and say this is cool. I mean, we even had our casting director came over, and her wife is not a horror fan, and she's like, I would watch this. This is cool, We had other people say that they're like, I would watch it, and I'm not even a horror fan. It's just entertaining.
And that's what I love about the comedy side of The Widow and Charlie, the colorful basement. It's approachable. I always joke, my aunt, it was like horror trivia game show. She was like thinking it would be all like creepy and bloody and chains hanging from the ceiling. And I think as soon as people see the colors and the comedy, and it's fun, it's no different. Like I said, I'll turn on Jeopardy and might not know any answers. So a non-horror fan might not know answers, but it's still fun. It's fun to watch, and see it if you do know some answers. Or I think the casting director's wife said, that movie they were talking about, I'd never heard of that now I want to watch it. So it's introducing people who maybe know a couple, they know Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's it. But then they hear or see a clip or something on the show, and they want to know more. So yeah, it's approachable. It's like he said too, even if you have kids who are starting to get into horror, it's not scary. It's fun. So it's a good change of pace. You watch the scary movies for 2 hours straight, and then you flip this on to test your knowledge about it.
And I think she brings up a really good point that we really do want to promote to horror audiences, is that, and they'll discover it once they watch the show, but I know so many horror friends who have children, and when the kids are up to like 5 years old, they'll watch anything and everything. They love Pennywise. They'll watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. My buddy Jason, who's my effects supervisor on a lot of stuff, he's got a son who was raised on that stuff. But then once he starts to get to that age, a little bit older than 5, they start to process what they're watching, and then they get scared. And what I love about Better Luck Than Chuck is that you can put that on with any age kid, and they can watch it, and there's nothing like there's nothing offensively sexual. There's there's some innuendos, but it's not like it's disgusting, and it's not too on the nose to where a kid's gonna understand it. It's very much like Ghostbusters was an innuendo heavy movie, but as a kid you never knew that. And so I'm really excited that horror fans are going to be able to put this on and not have to wait until 10 o'clock at night when the kids are sleeping. They can watch it with their kids and introduce horror to their kids through this show. And hopefully we'll see a bunch of kids running around dressed as Charlie and the Widow in a couple of Halloweens, We do know one of our contestants said she was going to be the Widow for Halloween this year, which is pretty amazing.
I'm holding her to I know she'll probably listen to this, and I'm holding her to that.
Yeah, we're holding you to it.
You guys have given us so much great information about the process behind this show, what it takes to put it all together. So we're going to leave off things here by taking things in a bit of a scary route. I put together 3 different scenarios being pulled from the world of horror, and you guys get a chance to pick out of 1, 2, or 3. I'll present you with that scenario, and then we're just going to see what you would do in that particular situation.
We have to pick together, or do you want to hear different answers?
We're gonna get different answers on this one.
I will go with door number 3.
And I'll do door number 1.
Alrighty. All right, Meredith. So door number 3 here. Now, you are offered the budget to make the movie of your dreams, the television show of your dreams, the project of your dreams. But in order to get it, you have to spend the night in one of 3 haunted houses. It's either F. Murray Abraham's ghost prison from 13 Ghosts. That's the one with all like the windows and the mirrors, and they hold the ghost in, and you have to have the goggles in order to see them. You have the Vannicut Psychiatric Institution. That's the house from the remake of House on Haunted Hill, where Jeffrey rushed through the party for his wife, and then everybody proceeded to get killed by all these various ghosts. Or the Abaddon Hotel from Hell House LLC. Which of those 3 houses would you go with?
Psychiatric wards, no, just absolutely not. There's just too much unknown that has happened there. I think I'm gonna go with Hell House. I don't know if I'm surviving any of them, not because of the ghost or things coming at me, because my own heart attack that would probably happen, but
yeah, she'd see a spider in like the corner of the room and would probably die of a heart attack.
That's a little extreme. I don't know if I'm surviving any of them because I am a fraidy cat, but I think that's the one that I'd probably give my best go at.
Fair enough. That is a good choice. You go with 13 Ghosts, okay?
Well, because weren't the spells on the glass like to protect someone? So as long as you were behind the wall, you were fine. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't go exploring, and I wouldn't mess with anything. I'd just sit in the corner and wait until the day's over.
All right. So then, scenario 1, the one that you picked out here, Tony. So, same idea. Basically, you show up in an abandoned factory, and surprise, surprise, you have found yourself in a trap by Jigsaw. Now, in this case here, he's not trying to guilt you into some choices that you've made before and making it this big morality tale. Instead, same offer here, to where Jigsaw will fund your next project, whatever it is, whatever you need. But in order to fund this project, you have to willingly select one of the various traps that Jigsaw has used across the entire franchise.
I mean, that's a tough question because there's 10 Saw movies now, or 8 or 9 Saw movies.
God,
and I saw the first 5, and I have only seen them each once. I'm not a fan of torture movies.
Fair.
So it's tough. I know the one I wouldn't do is the pit filled with syringes. That was just like, no
good.
Maybe there's the pendulum at one point,
Okay.
That might have been that was in 4 or 5, I want to say.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a little bit more of like a basic trap versus some of the more elaborate ones. So
that's fair. I accept that.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time, so I wouldn't remember how to disarm the trap. So I think I might be SOL.
I want to say if it's the one I'm thinking of with the pendulum, I think that's where the guy had to stick his hands in this machine that would either drill into him or smash him in order for the pendulum. Something like that. I want to say it was. Now, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. So it's like losing a limb or losing your life. What do you pick? It's like, I mean, I'm probably gonna lose the limb, but man, I hope it doesn't hurt
and
that
get to make the movie of your dreams.
Yeah, one
That's
arm.
true.
I mean, just surviving and losing a limb is one thing, but you lose a limb and get to make a movie of your dreams might be worth it. Might be worth it.
Sure, sure.
There you go.
Now I know what the second option was.
Second option here, and this one will probably ring a bell for both of you here, but same idea here. A stranger comes up, rings your doorbell, and tells you he offers you a very simple choice. He will fund the budget for the project of your dreams, but in order to do that, you must press this red button on this device that he brought, and if you press this button, someone that you don't know somewhere else in this world will die. Do you press the button?
I mean, that's a terrible position to put somebody in, because if we answer yes, it makes us greedy and selfish, and if we answer no, then it's like, well, I mean,
there's that. Yeah.
Millions of people die every day.
And movies don't get made when they do. So you're right. You're right about that now.
Yeah. There you go.
Y'all tell us in the comment section your thoughts on those three different scenarios there and what you would choose. Would love to hear some feedback on it. But that is going to do it for us today. Meredith and Tony, thank you guys so much for coming on and talking to us a little bit more about Better Luck Than Chuck in regards to what went on behind the scenes, what we can expect, and all the fun and joy of creating the first ever horror trivia game show, y'all. It has been such an honor and a pleasure to have you on here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a lot of fun, and it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
Yes. Great to see you guys. Everybody, make sure you are tuning in to Better Luck Than Chuck and keep an eye out for submissions for the next season to be a contestant as well.
Thanks again to Tony and Meredith for joining me here for this interview. Folks, I'm going to keep you in the loop for the debut of Better Luck Than Chuck once we get a little bit more information on that. But in the meantime, make sure to get subscribed to my link tree at linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to be access to the YouTube page with video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings throughout the year, my TikTok page for short horror content, including movie news, movie premieres, and movie reviews, my Twitch page for all my horror gaming, and my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, y'all. Hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, no matter where you're watching or listening. Got a lot more great horror content coming out your way, including reviews for Megan 2.0, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Dexter Resurrection, and we are finally going to get back to the After Dark Horror Fest Year 4. You don't want to miss any of that, y'all, but that's it for me tonight. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.